I mean, the real upside of making something completely unusable in-game is that you're not actually bound to the way the game wants you to do things, but the bad thing is you're never going to see them enjoying the slides and the bucket tip. Tis okay though, Planet Coaster 2! Oh yeah, you guys, welcome back to Beachy Point in Planet Coaster 1. This is not Planet Coaster 2, not just yet, time's not quite right. And welcome back to the water park that we're putting into our seaside park, where we are basically, we're ripping off Splashdown Key West in Paynton, let's be honest. Like, this is happening. This is definitely a thing. This is not Volcano Bay, this is Splashdown Key West. And this is the area I'm working on this week. It's actually a relatively small area, but I have got a lot of work to do, because we need to put the first slides in. As you saw last week, I'm already starting to get a feel for where the exits of these slides are going to be, and I've started to place down where I want other stuff to do, other stuff to be. So I think this is where I want the first of the slide towers to be. Of course, this is not going to be the slide start because that wouldn't make sense, but I'm just starting to get a feel for the size. I want a kind of like a splash pad play area down on the bottom here. I don't know if this is going to be its position because I don't really know what room I need for these slides. I'm going to need to put some kind of maintenance area in. I've decided I also want a maintenance bit here that backs onto this car park because that kind of makes sense in terms of access. I do want some kind of kiosk and whatever, and I don't know if I'm going to start doing the bits of around here, right, because I need to start getting the other side of the park done. So at the moment I'm a very pensive chacho because I don't really know how this is going to play out. I don't know what's going to happen, so let's just cut to future me where I know the answer, shall we? See you in a minute. Oh, there's one thing you can say for sure: slides in Planet Coaster 1 are hard, like really really hard. Oh man. But Ollie414 did this slide pack for the Theme Makers Toolkit. There's basically two slides. There's a matte slide version and a tube slide version, slightly wider basically, but the same sort of pack that's available, and they're really good to work with, right? Amazing to work with, but I just can't do helixes. I just can't do it. So thankfully Noah came to the rescue and is got a load of stuff on the workshop, right? This is all of Noah's stuff. In fact, there's not hundreds, but there's quite a few like different packs and whatever that have been put together. I might actually steal some of the bowls if that's okay with you guys, because I'm never going to be able to do these, and I hadn't actually thought about putting the bowls and stuff in, so I think I might now. But ultimately what I've done is I've used Noah's stuff for the things that I can't do myself, that I just really can't do. So like, for example, the supports, just too difficult for me to do, so I say that it's actually quite easy, but I've used Noah's supports, and then I've used the helixes and stuff that are actually on the packs that he's done, just so I know that I'm doing it right. But everything else I've done the old-fashioned way and built myself, but it does mean that all of this stuff over here, I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do than I had first thought, and I think the towers are probably going to be taller than I first thought. I might need to do a little bit of jiggery-pokery now that we're starting to actually make it make sense. So what I did to start with was put all of the supports and struts in for the actual framework for the platforms, and I've got two split levels platforms. This is kind of how Key West works. That's just kind of how water parks work, really. The first one is on this first level here. It's a nice and simple slide. It doesn't really do much more. It just comes off this way, comes around this way, a bit of a dip, and then into a run that actually exits underneath the platform. And that's how I want it to be. There's a little bit like, I think it's called the Screamer. It's always called the Screamer, I'm sure. Back in Key West, kind of like how that works, but not as intense. This is supposed to be, by the way, like your training slides. These are the kiddie slides. The other ones we're going to have, the other side, are going to have much taller platforms. They're going to be much longer. But yeah, this is like your trainer slides, if you like. Then you've got two on the top level. Of course, it needs this top level. In fact, the whole thing needs finishing, right? There's no barriers or anything on here. It's a health and safety nightmare. But this one, nice and simple. It comes down here, it comes into a helix down, and comes into another helix down, and then just winds its way back and then into the pool. And then the other one does the same, but this time it goes out this way, and then it does a bit of a snaky S-bend. Don't know if I'm going to cover this over, because you can't do banked stuff with the pack that's on the workshop, right? That's actually quite difficult to do. So you're so you're actually left with this, and I don't think this wouldn't fly at all. And of course, you do your best to join up the seams and stuff, but yeah, I think this needs to be covered in all honesty. So that's my we'll see. we'll see what happens. But it comes underneath this other slide, then empties out into the pool here. Now you'll notice that I've actually started to do a little bit of changing to the pool as I was finishing this all off. It was too close to the edge. I've kept the original edges in so you can see where they were. It's just too dangerous. So I've widened the pool. I've put this on an angle because I wanted this to all make sense. I put foliage and stuff in here. But yeah, so I've widened it out so that you've actually got some kind of gap. And I've also moved them to be not so close together, so they're not as further apart than they were. So it's now all good. And of course the slides empty out onto the stairway, and then just stairway here. That means I've had to move and jig around this bit, but it's all good, right? I'm liking how this is. I did start to do some work down here, so I've now started to make the steps and the ramp make sense, and the steps and the ramp here make sense. I think what I'm going to do is have some real high-speed slides that are going to come right straight down here, and then that's just going to sort of like cut off the edge of the park, I think, a little bit like Key West does. I don't know if I'm going to do anything this side. It depends on what you guys actually, how you react to the episodes. So we'll see. Right, so where else have we done? So I've started this whole maintenance area in the back end. I've decided to put an L-shaped building inside here, and then of course it's got an access point from this bit, but then I have also put in 2 extra gates. So there's one here, there's one here, and I think I've swapped out the gate here as well, and then I just put some fences and stuff around, and this is of course where all of the tanks and stuff of the water are going to be. It would all be pumped into here. Actually, I don't know where the water at Key West goes when it's not in use, because they emptied the pools. I just don't know where the water goes. I don't know if they've got underground tanks or what, but anyway, this is what we're saying. We've got tanks that are all along here. I have just put some propane tanks here. I need to actually make them make sense, because they're not stood on anything at the moment. Well, they kind of are. Yeah, alright. So, anyway, they need to be fenced off and whatever. You would have propane in this kind of park. And then we've got a slide. This has come from the workshop. Apologies, I don't remember who it's from. I will go and find out who it is. I definitely couldn't do better myself. It just felt like this needed some kind of a kiddie slide, so that's what we've done here. And of course this is going to be the back end of the park, so I need to put foliage and stuff in here. They could almost put extra stuff in here if they wanted to utilise space. But then we've also got the kiddie area. So this is where all of your training slides are. So you've got a snaky one here. You've got a bit of a racer slide, like a mini racer slide here. These are all custom, by the way, so I haven't stolen these from anywhere else. You've got a bigger slide here, so that's for the big kids. But then you've also got smaller versions of those slides. Where are they? There's there's the pink one there, and then the yellow one is just a copy of that. We have a snaky downy one in this black one, and then we've got the isn't the red one a copy of that as well? No, the red one's a slightly higher standard slide, and then this is a bendy slide. So like, the idea being it's supposed to be a bit of an adventure playground. I've just started to get a feel for how this would all be connected to each other. So I want it to be an island, and it is a splash pad, so there is water. I don't know if you can see the reflection, but there is water. And what I've done here is I've actually used yellow to represent the sand, blue to represent the water. Of course you would, cliche, but just started to connect it all together with all the stuff that you need. So these are all going to be like piers. I think this is probably a bit too much. I want kids to be able to play in it, right? And I want kids to be able to splash around and have fun, and I don't want to clutter it out with infrastructure. But because you've got all these slides going everywhere, you kind of have to. So yeah, I've got these piers and whatever. Then we've got the steps that come up here and then onto multiple different levels. There's very little in the way of girders and supports and stuff that I've done here, right? This is definitely a Tomorrow Me's problem. But I've started to get the idea of how it's going to get to how you're going to transition to the top level, how you can like play around with this bit, and then you can come across here along the decking and up to the racer slides, and then you've got this exit here. Well, that comes back along here, and then you come up here, or you can splash around in the water and go underneath and whatever. So it's all very safe to do. The idea of kids playgrounds is it's everything's supposed to be on a level. Avoid trip hazards as much as possible, avoid slopes as much as possible. The kids are just going to have fun. I think I'm going to loosely theme this probably around pirates or something. That's why I've used the wood. But we'll see what happens there. And then just along this bit, I have just started to put some split level stuff in, so I know what the foliage and whatever is going to be, or at least what the lay of the land is going to be, because I don't want it to be a hill. I actually want it to be this waterfall effect, because that's what we're doing elsewhere, right? It's like a waterfall effect from the top down to this one. So this is the last one that you're going to get. And then I've started to do this plaza area. I have got rid of the original blueprint that I thought I was going to use, not blueprint, sorry, well, the footprint of the ice cream shop I wanted. I actually think I might go back into Raygate Lake, shocker, and use the pool bar. That's what I'm thinking. So that's what I'm going to go and do. So there you go, guys. That's the middle part of the episode. It's looking alright, isn't it? I'm quite chuffed with this. I can't wait to finish it. So I'll see you in a minute. I mean, compared to last week, this doesn't look that much impressive, does it? It's quite a small area to be working in. But, to be honest with you, most of this episode has been trying to sort out what the water slides need to do. Like, trying to build them. So, yeah, I'm actually happy with how this has turned out. Like, this little splash pad here, it's not really splash paddy. It's definitely not what I thought it was going to turn out to be. I had visions of it being all like water and stuff. But, hey, it's turned out all right. Oh, check out what's about to happen. How cool is this? How cool is this? Yes. Bucket splash. I mean, that's a My Curious Mind bucket. I think he used it for that's something, it might be the tidal wave recreation that he did. It's on the workshop. It's amazing. It's animated. It's exactly what I needed there. And I've managed to then just time in some of the water splash effects just to make it run down the thing. But yeah, so this splash pad, it's turned into something different. I thought it was going to be all open, and I thought it was going to be all exposed, like beamwork and whatever. And actually, it's ended up being a bit of a piratey theme type area, and I don't hate it. Like, do I want to do some touching up to it? Yeah, I think I do. Did I bother to put any of the slide water and stuff in here? No, and that's because you've got too much clipping to make it all make sense. But I mean, it's all right. It's a bit of a health and safety nightmare. The risk assessments you'd need for this are ridiculous, but it's all fun. I like how it's now integrated itself in with all of the rock work and stuff. Now, I needed to use the rock work to either hide some unsightly bits or to stop people going down pathways that they shouldn't be going down. And actually what I've ended up doing is enclosing the entire thing a little bit too much. In reality, I think maybe this area probably would have been used as like an extension to the splash pad. This would be like where the open pool and stuff would be. But that generated an idea. And so I know that for the future, I've got this bit here, so I know that the speed slide exits are going to be sort of like roughly in this area, and I now want to sort of take a little bit of inspiration from splash landings at Alton Towers. Of course, we know all of this is going to go, right? This is not staying. Of course it's not. I just haven't deleted it yet because I haven't got the heart. But I'm going to have split level pools, like waterfall pools that are connected by water slides, and this is going to be the shallow one for the Litlands and stuff, so I can kind of make an extension by extension. But that's either going to be next week's episode or the episode after. I haven't quite decided yet. But yeah, so this splash area is looking all right. I'm happy with it. Like, we've got the kids slides here, and they exit onto the beach, or onto the fake beach, which is like the concrete beach and stuff. And then I've just put like some foliage and some pebbles and stuff around just to sort of hide it all off a little bit. And remember that this has got to be a play area, so it needs to be safe. It needs to be safe for kids. So you want to try and avoid where you can low-lying beams, or if the low-lying beams are down, then or if there are low-lying beams, then you do need to find a way of either like blocking it off or making it safe. You tend to find like rubber matting and stuff around that area, or like the rubber bits that you put around the pipework and whatever. So anyway, yeah, I've decided that this is climbable and stuff. Whether you'd have a lifeguard or whatever watching, I don't know, because I can only get up to here, right? And the full risk of kids is, well, kids are pretty hardy, aren't they? Let's be honest. But this wouldn't be concrete. This would all be like rubber matting and stuff. So it's like it's safe for kids. I've used concrete in game, but yeah, it's all fine. So then you've got all the slides and stuff here. And then you've got the walkway along this way. I have just put like all of the runners and stuff in here so that kids don't fall off. But yeah, you would be expected to exit this slide, for example, this side, and then you come around this way, back up and whatever. So it's at the back, so it's not the prime position, but it's still, you know, it's still there. It works. Then you've got the slide that's here. And then you've got the two that are at the top here. So I've just made this a little bit of a fort pirate lookout. I did originally start using the castle one, you know, like the typical Battle Galleon style pirate themes that you get and whatever. But I decided to use the sandstone one because I don't use it that often. And I didn't want this to be heavily themed. I just wanted it to have a theme. Yeah, so I've managed to. I think I've managed to pull it together. Do you want to see the? Do you want to see the bucket one more time? Do you want the bucket one more time? There we go. There we go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Splish. Yeah, I love it. And by the way, in case you're wondering how I knew exactly when it was going to go off, it's because it's actually triggered to the train behind. So there's the there's the trigger point there. I'll show you actually what the trigger is. It's really simple. There you go, edit trigger sequence and the display group. And that's literally all it is. You trigger the bucket, 8 seconds later you do 2 water spouts, and then 8.5 seconds later you do 1, and then 9 seconds later you do the final one. And that gives the effect then of the water running down the roofs and stuff. So that's basically how you just do your timed events. So that's a lot of talking about a splash pad that I don't like, when I could be talking about the stuff that I do like. This area here, love it, love it, love it, love it. This is exactly how I wanted this area to be. So the ones from Noah, off the workshop, as you can see, the supports and stuff, they do have effects and stuff included with them. So I've just copied those across and maintained them, but I haven't done any more special effects than what you see, and that's because you just can't really make it realistic with the way that the effects work, you know, like the units and stuff that you get. The one thing I have done though is here, so I've been able to hide the special effects unit inside the actual slide, and because you can't really see it, it actually looks like the water is collecting here and it's down to the end. So you've got like the realistic end to it. I did try and put the splash and stuff in the water. I have a technique that I will use later on when I've done all of the pulls, that's going to make the water move, but I can't actually make an actual splash here because the fountain splash effect sticks out of the water. So this is probably the best you're going to get for now. But this tower, love how this tower turned out. I told you it needed a lot of touching up and stuff on the actual beamwork, so that's what I've done. Lots of beamwork and stuff going on, and then I just put these cross braces in because that's exactly what they've got at Key West in Paynton. And then this bit underneath here, this is all pretty much as I wanted it. Again, I need to put the splash effects and stuff in here yet, but I'm not sold on this still being here. I need to do the rest before I commit. He says, as he's done all of the landscaping and stuff. sounds about right. And then I just put staff and whatever at the top. Every single slide would have a member of staff looking after the place, and then of course all of the barriers and stuff are in. I like it. I've decided that each tower is going to be a different colour. So this one is the blue and orange one. Don't know what the other colours are going to be, but they're all going to be up there anyway. And then this is the bar. So here is the bar. I love this. I didn't actually end up taking the one from Reigate Lake, and that's because since Frontier did the 4K launch thing of Planet Coaster, I now can't get into Reigate Lake. It actually crashes. So I don't know if that's a park that's consigned to the history books, but I've ended up doing my own little bar here. So we've got all of the stuff you'd usually find, the T-bars and whatever all in. I've used the T-bars before. I've saved them as blueprints and stuff. But yeah, it's looking all right. It's just a bar. It doesn't do anything else. It doesn't do food. It doesn't do ice cream. It doesn't do anything. It's just a bar where you can pick up beers and soft drinks and stuff. Soft drinks in the fridges and whatever. So yeah, but I have just made it a bit of a tiki bar, but not a tiki bar. I didn't want to use thatch and whatever because it needs to fit in with the theme. But I like it, right? It's cute. It's really cute. It's nice and small. It's not 4 meters either. It's 3 meters. I've actually broken the design conventions, and you do that by having the station pieces. You know, the L station pieces. You just put those on a 1 meter grid, and away you go. Yeah, I like it. It's cool. And then the area around here, I've just put the sandstone, Indian sandstone down, and then lots of picnic benches. But no umbrellas on this one. I wanted to keep this an open area because otherwise you're spamming umbrellas around and it just is too much. You've just got too much texture going on. And then finally, the maintenance area I haven't done inside the building, and I won't be doing inside the building, and that's because I need clipping space, so you can't for this foliage and stuff down here. But the actual area here is now done. Like, it doesn't need to be any more than this. I might come along and rough it up with some dirt decals or whatever maybe later on, but I'm happy with this as it is right now. I did end up putting the fence and stuff around the propane bit, and I've also put stuff that would essentially stop lorries and vans and whatever driving into the fences and stuff, so there are things in the way. A couple of electricity units that are out the way of all of the water, and then of course all of the water tanks, and then they're connected all along here. So future plans then. I think I've got 2 more episodes left. I've got, I think the next episode is going to be the speed slides, and maybe coming around this way to do the waterfall pools. That's how it's feeling at the moment. However, I could also go down this way and get the top end of the actual park done and get all of the slides in, so I know what room I've got for the pool. I need to sort of play it out and see what happens. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for getting to the end of the episode. Really do appreciate you hanging out with us today. If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. But I will see you next week. Have a good one. Take care, guys. Bye!